you are an Auschwitz survivor.
Correct, yes. And even more, I was liberated 75 years ago,
Yes.
which really saved my life.
That moment, Eva, of liberation, put it into some kind of context for people who may be too young to really understand what the Holocaust was about.
Well, you know, this was an enormous area of concentration camps, but Auschwitz, but women camp was Birkenau, and there were tens of thousands of people in inhuman conditions, without food, without clothing, in the winter, with illnesses, with lice, no toilets, no drinking water, in the hot summer, in the big snow, and you slept in a big bunk with 8 people. Very often in the morning, the person who slept next to you didn't wake up anymore. So you spent half the night next to a dead body.
And sorry.
Well, and the constant threat, of course. I mean, you wake up next to dead bodies, but the constant threat and risk that you might be next. You might be sent to the gas chamber.
Exactly.
Or worked
well,
to
my mother was actually, perhaps it was October. You know, we had no idea.
Yes.
She selected by Mengele to be gassed. We had to parade naked in front of him, and if he thought you're too thin, you can't work anymore, you went to the wrong side. And I thought I had lost her, but again, through a miracle, she was not lost.
Well, what was extraordinary was, as you say, you believed that your mother had been selected to go to the gas chamber.
Well, she was selected, definitely.
Yes, you thought that she was going to die. You then had a meeting with your father, didn't you?
I know,
Because
I know.
occasionally you would come across each other in the
that
camp.
was as well unbelievable. That never happened to anybody.
And when you saw him, you told him what you thought was happening to your
Well,
mother.
yes, he asked, and I had to tell. And, you know, this was, I think that was a very, very big blow to him.
One thing that strikes me, Eva, about everybody who's survived this nightmare and the scale of inhumanity, it's just mind-boggling. But everyone who survived seems so strong. The spirit that comes out of you all is remarkable. How do you find that strength?
Well, for me, actually, it was when I was arrested just on my 15th birthday. I didn't want to die, you know. Who wants to die when he's young? We had a beautiful life in Vienna, and I wanted to get married, I wanted to have a family, and so I never, ever gave up. But nevertheless, like I say, miracles,
Yes.
that without miracles, I wouldn't be here. You know, little things which just saved your life in some kind of ways.
And you were liberated, and today is the 75th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz.
Yeah.
That moment for you, what was that like?
Well, it wasn't, you know, it wasn't the end of it, because the war was still going on, and we didn't really know what were the Russians going to do. They were not having a holiday, you know, they were fighting. So when the first ones came, they just fed us, but went on again. So, and, you know, some people thought, well, they were going to just leave us there, or perhaps taking us to Siberia. Well, we had no idea. So it was not the day they came that we thought, now we are saved. So it took really many, many months, because they realized it was not safe to stay there. So they took us, it was wonderful, to east. And we traveled from January till May with the Red Army against the army who went actually to the west. And, you know, they looked after us, they gave us Russian uniforms, they fed us, and then eventually we ended up in Odessa. And it wasn't only Auschwitz, they liberated all the camps in Poland. And that is really not known. And something I wanted to point out to you, you know, there are many pictures about the Russian liberating Auschwitz, and there's never any snow. And the snow was honestly that high. And so I have some connection with the Russian embassy, and I was there once, and I said, something puzzles me. Those photos are fakes, because there's no snow. And they said, well, yes, they are not fakes, but when the army came, they didn't have cameras, they didn't photograph. So only much later, when they realized we should have pictures of it, they took pictures like you see now. But this is definitely not in Auschwitz and not the liberation of Auschwitz. There were not that many people with clothes and children and no snow.
Right, fascinating.
So I think historically we should point this out.
And get it right, yeah.
To get it right.
There are obviously many concerns today, not least back in Germany, but also here, Jewish people feeling under threat again from the rising tide of anti-Semitism. What do you feel about that?
I must say I'm not in the least worried. Anti-Semitism is nothing new. We have been persecuted since ever. And, you know, it's not just Jews who are discriminated. It's the Muslims, it's the Christians as well. Just people who are not the same as you are. And so I think we can, how more fuss we make about it, how more attention we draw to it.
And your message really is one of tolerance, isn't it? That we need to learn to be more tolerant generally.
Exactly. This is, I still can't understand why there's so much discrimination against people who, and especially religious reasons. You know, religion is something beautiful, it's personal, and we should let everybody worship whoever they want without being in danger of being killed or persecuted.
Absolutely right.
But the worst thing what was for me coming back and hearing the news that my father and brother hadn't made it.
So I was just going to refer to the fact that your mother, of course, wasn't killed despite your worst fears.
Yeah.
She survived. You think that perhaps the news that she might have died, you know, destroyed your father?
I'm afraid, I think so, yes.
Your mother survived, you survived, you came home or back, and then she married Anne Frank's father.
So he became, besides that he became my stepfather, he was the grandfather of our 3 daughters.